This section heading is called Enabling IPS, Video 2. So now what we're going to do in this section right here, or this part of this section, is we're going to add some config statements to Snort's configuration file. These will be used when running Snort in what is known as inline mode. So now the first one that we're going to add is going to be on line 106. And what we're going to do is we're going to insert a few lines. I should say a couple lines. So we're going to use this backslash and we're going to continue on the next line. The first line that we're going to add within the file is going to be a comment character. So we're going to add drop rules to be triggered. So now on the next line, we're going to add our config statement. So we're going to say config, config, and then policy underscore mode inline. So this is going to be, both of these lines are going to be placed inside of Snort's configuration file, snort.conf. And then what we're going to do is we're going to verify that the placement of these is under step 2. So we'll use sed once again. So sudo sed -n. And then these are lines 102 to 108. 102, 108. Snort.conf. Okay, so everything looks good. So now the next config statements that we're going to add are going to be for what is known as data acquisition libraries. So we're going to define the type and also the mode. So now the reason that we're doing this is we have to either do this inside the config file or within the terminal when we actually add the configuration options to run Snort from within the terminal. So we're actually doing it from within the config file, so we don't have to enter in certain characters or commands or what have you up in here every time we want to run it from within the terminal. So again, it's kind of like, it's easier. Do it once, don't do it every other time. So now the first thing I'm having you do is to see where these data acquisition libraries are actually being, or where they're contained within Snort's configuration file. So I'm going to type sudo sed. We're going to take a look at lines 145 to 157. So 145 to 157. Etsy snort and then snort.conf. Okay, so now the reason I'm having you actually view this is because here we're seeing a type and it gives a bunch of options, but not all of these options may be available to your Snort installation. So the next thing I'm having you do is to actually verify which ones are available. So we're going to type snort -daq -list. So by default, or the default type that's run is pcap. So now if you try to use pcap when running Snort in IPS mode, right, it's going to throw an error. So what we have to do is we have to change this to AF packet. So the difference kind of between these, it's just a different format. So if you look at the code for AF packet, it just defines things like kind of like the structure, the headers and stuff like that when sniffing. So it provides the sniffing capabilities and also kind of the things that you want to glean out of there in the format of what you're gleaning. So now to specify not only AF packet but also the mode to be inline, we're going to add a couple lines within Snort's configuration file. As you can see over here, they're kind of commented out. So we're going to define them. So now we're going to type sudo sed. Once again, we're going to edit the in-place file and we're going to insert a couple lines. So we're going to insert these lines starting at line 147. And the first config statement that we'll add, so we're going to type config daq and colon, and then over here you can see this is exactly what we're typing right here. So daq colon, and maybe I'll just copy the other one to make it easier next time. And we're going to say AF packet, and then continue on the next line. So now this next one, as I said, I'm going to copy. these down here. And now we're going to define the mode to be inline. So we'll add a tick here to close it out, and then specify that we're placing this inside of Snort's configuration file, snort.conf. All right, so now let's verify that they're there. So I'll hit the up arrow key a few times, and now we can see that both of those lines successfully got entered.